Good evening, everyone. You are on the lifeboat. This is Captain Calhoun speaking. How is everyone doing tonight? Davey, Valerie, Zaphod, Beeblebrox, the president of the entire universe. No big deal. Tara smiling. My best interview yet. I really enjoyed that. I want to go back and watch it. I have not yet. If you haven't caught the interview that Tara Smiling and I did yesterday, go ahead and go check it out. Do yourself a favor. It's pretty great. We had a blast making it. I tell you what, Matrix Rabbit, our resident resin master. Hey there, how you doing? Sandy Wandy Lumen. Good to see you. Just the galaxy at the moment, no big. Yeah, man, we're glad you're here. We're happy to have you. Kristen Melinda, looking good in pink. Joey girl. Heck yeah, guys. Good evening. Good evening. It's Thursday. Is it Thursday? Tuesday? Wednesday? It's a day. It's one of those days of the week. Sue B, good to see you. Can only stay a few minutes, but wanted to say hi. Well, hey there. Well, hey there. Hi right back. I'm glad you're here. Do you find it difficult? Tara says I haven't watched it either. Do you find it difficult to go back and like look at your own stuff? I feel like a lot of people do have that experience. I won't say it's my favorite thing, but I definitely find benefit in it, in going back and watching my stuff. Lord Kiss Freak has graced us with his presence. We are in the presence of royalty, everyone. My sister, Curious George, hey there. Good evening, good evening. The inappropriate heifer, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Heck yeah, guys. Today, we're going to talk about the phenomenon of craving. We did a little book study last night, and the phenomenon of craving came up, and we discussed it at length. We spent a lot of time. We spent a ton of time, not in a bad way or anything, but we spent a ton of time discussing the phenomenon of craving, and everyone had a very interesting opinion. And I wouldn't say that we all disagreed, right? But there's definitely, it's a topic that can be thoroughly explored. There's a lot more there than it sounds like. So I figured I'd give it a go today. Alan Ballantyne, hello. Hello, sir. Howdy do. Falsely accused, LKF. Falsely frozen. Rarely rewatch my own stuff, says Tara. I might actually rewatch your best interview ever, though, right? Yeah, my best yet. Timber June, hey there. Yeah, the phenomenon of craving. It's fascinating, really. It seems mundane, like, oh, yeah, I crave. Of course, that's regular. That always happens, right? But, I mean, there's a whole lot to unpack here. Fancy Nancy, good to see you. Brazy Girl, how you doing today, Brazy? Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Valerie Nagy. Yo, Miss Sunrise Dawn, Scooby Lee. Heck yeah, guys. I hope the weather has gotten a little better out there, Miss Sunrise. Hopefully your dog's having a better day. I hope so. I hope so. Please hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a big difference for us. Yeah, and I appreciate you showing up. So, I would like to do more interviews in the future. I know I've talked about like getting an interesting schedule or routine of things throughout the week, right? Like some days we'll talk about strictly like recovery topics, right? Like today, we're doing the phenomenon of craving. I would consider that recovery. On the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday, we'll have like a fun day. But I'd like to get another day. I'd like to do like consistent interviews as well. Like, so maybe like one a month or something. I don't know. Haven't decided yet, but I just wanted to touch on that again. I'm going to be doing more interviews, highlighting members of this channel, bringing people on that, want to tell their story and that I think can that have a good story to tell. I mean, it's weird to say that, but that have experience, strength, and hope to share with everybody. So looking forward to that. I'll probably pick like a day of the month or something like that, or maybe it's like every 2 weeks or something. I don't know exactly how often we'll do interviews, but if in that case I would pick like a day every 2 weeks or whatever. But we'll decide on a solid consistency that's inconsistent, if that makes sense. So stay tuned for that news. The newest nut. Hey there, good to see you. Washing son's pit bull with boys, two men playing. Body illusion. The dream. Does the pupper enjoy a bath is the real question. Or is it a struggle? Well, I'm glad you're doing well, Ellen. Barbie, hey there. Good to see you. Well, where were we? So what exactly is the phenomenon of craving? You could define a craving, the phenomenon of craving, as an intense or often overwhelming desire for something. And in this context, we're talking about drugs or alcohol, right? And if you are a normie, right? If you haven't had an addiction or problems with alcohol or anything like this, substances, you can apply this to whatever you would like to quit, whatever you're trying to do away with, right? Maybe it's like binge eating, right? Or maybe it's skipping the gym, or maybe it's working too much or something. You can apply this to an infinite amount of things, right? So, but I will be exploring it from an addict's perspective, or that's how I'm applying it. But just know you can apply this to other things, right? So the phenomenon of craving, intense, often overwhelming desire for something. The 8 minutes thing that my dad talks about is really, really great. Ways to manage. So the cravings are inevitable. If you have any experience with drugs and alcohol, you know what I'm talking about. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. Whether you're just starting your recovery journey, whether you're far down the line, whether you're in the midst of your addiction, there's going to be times where you're going to get cravings. You're going to crave whatever it is that you like to do, your DOC, right? It's going to happen. So if we want to move through recovery successfully, this is something inevitably it's going to happen. We know that. We accept that. We have to find ways to handle it, to manage it, right? And I think the 8-minute thing that my dad talks about is a great distraction technique. And distraction techniques are one of the things that we can do, right? We can do something for 8 minutes, whether it's calling a friend, telling them what's going on, have them talk you through it, right, for 8 minutes or whatever. Whether it's going for a walk, whether it's just changing your activity or changing your surroundings, what have you, right? There's a myriad of ways that we can distract ourselves for 8 minutes. And I guess I should not skip over the 8-minute thing. Is it takes your brain 8 minutes to get through a craving. It takes your brain 8 minutes to move through that and switch gears. So if you can distract yourself for 8 minutes, and we usually talk about the 8-minute thing for pain, right? If you can get through the pain for 8 minutes, there's a psychological aspect, right? Obviously, there's some pain that this isn't going to apply to, right? But there's a psychological aspect to craving. There's a psychological aspect to pain, and that's what we can get through with the 8-minute technique. I'm skipping around a little bit, but so I said just a second ago, this is a psychological component, right? The phenomenon of craving is not just physical dependency. There is a psychological component as well. This is scientifically proven. This is fact. Spanx Lady Hawk. I try not to. I'm having a release help. I believe you mean to say relapse. Well, tell us what's going on. I mean, I don't know what to do until she tells me what's going on. So please, Lady Hawk, tell us what's going on. Just having an effect. What do you mean? What are you relapsing on? Over 20 years of no alcohol, Body Illusion still gets the cravings. That's wild, isn't it? Isn't that wild? It's like a part of us now. And I'm not saying that that's how it's going to be for everybody, right? But this is definitely an experience that I hear all the time. Well, the important thing, Lady Hawk, is that failures aren't the end of the line. They are just bumps in the road that we get to learn from. It's just an opportunity for growth. It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? So don't beat yourself up. Stick around. Let's talk about this. And yeah, we can do better, right? The important thing is that you're safe. The important thing is that you're safe, which makes me really happy because that was my main concern. I was like, what's going on? What is going on? Well, I'm sorry to hear that you're relapsing, but it could have been way worse. I tell you what, yeah, I bet. Usually it comes hard. I tell you what, it comes around the bend with some momentum for sure. Well, hey, stay with us. Connect with your friends here. Let's talk about the phenomenon of craving. And when next time I see you, let's have a conversation and let's talk about uh, what your program is. Let's talk about journaling and all this stuff. Um, if you're into that, Lady Hawk, I would like that. Do your thing, my sunrise dawn. No sweat. There are other things that we can do, other tools at our disposal, right? When the phenomenon of craving comes around the bend, right? We can distract ourselves. Oftentimes, that's not going to be nearly enough. That is a very effective tool. It has got me out of a bind many a time. But sometimes I'm in a position where maybe the phenomenon of craving is allowed to go on too long, or I've entertained the idea a little too much, right? I've gotten a little bit too far down the stages of relapse before addressing it, right? Whatever the case may be. It The distraction techniques might be insufficient. And if that's the case, I probably need some bigger guns. I need to bring in some heavy artillery, right? So we're talking therapy, we're talking support groups, and we're talking medical assisted treatments, doctors, professionals, and support groups. And the reason I say professionals and support groups, not that there aren't professional support groups or people that are um, professional in that regard, right? But I think support groups deserve their own category because they provide unique benefits. They are their own unique tool. Support groups, I think, are a great asset alongside medical assisted treatment, alongside cognitive behavioral therapy, which is CBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy alongside the distraction techniques, alongside all our other tools was the point that I was making. But CBT is a structured goal oriented type of psychotherapy. So it's a type of mental health therapy that professionals use for applications such as addiction, among many other things, I'm sure. But my dad talks about it a lot, and he's much more educated on the subject. But if you are in a position, and I imagine especially in early recovery, this is scary. You haven't done this before. You're getting really strong cravings. You're not confident that you can make it through those cravings. Also, depending on the substance we're talking about, right? Are you a benzo user? Are you an alcoholic? What exactly are we talking about here? I would I would highly recommend and suggest that you talk to a medical professional, that you seek out a therapist, because these are tools that I find that are often not used. I know personally I have a huge negative stigma with hospitals, doctors, with police officers, with therapists, with the whole nine. Like, they're all a part of the matrix. They're all Agent Smith to me, and I hate it. And I recognize that this isn't serving me, but I also recognize that, like, that is for a reason. Like, I have some trauma. I had some bad experiences. These feelings aren't necessarily unrealistic. Well, I mean, they are kind of unrealistic, but they're not like unjustified, if that makes sense. So that's something that I need to work on. If I'm going to get the medical help that I personally need, if I'm going to get the mental health help that I actually need and deserve, for that matter, that quite frankly that I deserve, right? Um, that's some trauma I'm gonna have to walk through. So I get it. I get not wanting to go to the hospital. I get not wanting to talk to a doctor or a therapist and bare your soul to a stranger. I hate that. You know what I mean? I hate that. And I definitely hate paying someone to do it. Like, that feels wrong to me. But I cannot deny the benefits that it provides to the people around me, to the people that I care about. So the proof's in the pudding, and I know that my opinion of that is something that I need to work through. But I needed to talk about that because often the distraction techniques aren't enough. You know what I mean? We really need the big guns. Yes, I can pull the Discord link up. Give me just a second. And you can also email me, Lady Hawk, here at sober@myyahoo.com, and I will get in there and stay on top of the emails so that I can communicate with you if that's something that you'd like to do. But I definitely want to check in with you when the drink wears off, and talk to you when you got a clear head, and see what's going on, because I care. I want to get involved. If I can help, I will, kind of thing. Thank you, Lord Kiss Freak. I appreciate that. Yeah, Dangerous Journeyman. I can't stress enough the benefit of having a good sponsor, a person in person, or even, like, with a chat on the phone, or. But I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't have an in-person, face-to-face sponsor for many years. I had someone that showed me how they did it, basically how they got sober. Well, don't worry about it then, Lady Hawk. We can figure something else out, but whatever you want to do. Hey, Debbie P, how you doing? Yeah, and 8 minutes is a general thing. It's important to listen to oneself and, like, stay present for sure. Sometimes you got to double back and go 16 or something. Ben Bacon Bits. Ben Bacon Bits. And Ben Bacon Bits. And the Ben Bacon Bits. Bacon Bits. I think that's like a time dilation thing, though, in your part of the universe. Mental health. Brazy Girl says close to 3 million calls to police in Canada are related to mental health crisis. Mental health is like the next, and when I say next, it is right now, right? It's happening right now, but it's the next big plague. It's like the next big crisis. Like we have, it's a problem everywhere. And you wonder why, but I feel like it makes a whole lot of sense when you look at a lot of things. And it's hard to talk about all those things without sounding like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. But, you know, it doesn't have to be like one group or one person organizing all of these things for one goal. It can just be a bunch of stupid, unique mistakes that are not related to each other. You know what I mean? And when I say mistakes, maybe like the intention with this particular situation, like let's say fluoride in the water, maybe the intention is good. Maybe actually, they people intended for this to do good. Well, it's not doing good, and there's so much stigma, and it's like the scientific community is kind of the same way. Um, there's a whole lot of ridiculing going on of new ideas, but I mean, I think it's pretty arrogant of us to think that we understand everything. Like us, just little old humans, we understand everything. I feel like that's not realistic. I feel like it's very arrogant. So I think new ideas are hard sometimes, but forget what we were talking about, science and stuff. But whatever, it's okay. People will come around in due time. I think we just need to be patient. Not enough outlets. That's right. And this is a great example of we're doing our own thing here. We're going to talk about it, and no shame in the game. Coping skills, right? We need to learn how to cope with these cravings. It's inevitable that they're going to come about. It's inevitable that we will be faced with the phenomenon of craving. So we have to figure out how to get through it unscathed. We talked about beyond physical dependence, and this psychological component of the phenomenon of craving is influenced by stress and anxiety and depression and even past experiences, right? Which possibly is nearer the root of the problem, right? But um, so managing these things also becomes paramount in managing your cravings properly, right? If you're extra stressed, you're really anxious today, maybe it's one of those days you're super depressed, you don't even want to get out of bed. Do you think you're going to be able to manage a craving? Do you think you're going to have the will in that headspace to stand your ground? I know personally, that's when I fail. Especially like on a day where I'm, what's the word, like entrenched in memories of past trauma. When that's all that's swirling up in my head, like that is not a good time to be managing cravings. Aryeh Schleider, hey there, good to see you, brother. I got to see Aryeh's face last night. He has quite the good-looking mug, I've got to say. He's a good-looking dude. I did not expect the facial hair. Looks like a young, not so murderous Charlie Manson. You know what I mean? I'm just playing. I'm just pulling his leg. Putting him on the spot. Barbara C. How you doing, Barbara C? Sorry, I just blanked out and was thinking about Aryeh's face again after I said your name. Look at that cute little. That looks like a baby pit. Is that a baby pitty or a baby kitty? It looks like a baby pitty. My food cravings are 99% mental. Distractions and water only work sometimes, especially at night. I find that when there's less like other stimulus, like at night when everything's quiet, there's I have a harder time focusing. I don't know why that is, but when there's less noise, like just ambient stuff going on, I find it extra hard to handle ants and stuff like that. Um, so yeah, if this is the situation, then we want to employ these other tools as well. Like I said, the 8 minute thing, the distraction techniques only go so far. So maybe we need to get into a little bit of therapy, a little bit of Right now you're already doing the support group. We're talking about it, and we talk about a number of other a Sphinx kitty. It is adorable, absolutely adorable. So I think that journaling is probably going to be your biggest asset. It's also going to require the smallest amount of change in your life in order to make progress. Are you journaling, Barbara C? Because if you're not, I bet you if you journaled daily, we could see progress pretty darn quickly. The proof would be in the pudding. And the reason I say that, and I'm just going to talk about it because it's so important. Journaling is so important. Journaling and writing down our thoughts helps us peel the onion. And by that, I mean gets closer and closer to the root of like why we used, why we crave food. Why do I have this relationship with food, with drugs, with alcohol, with, whatever I'm trying to quit, whatever I'm trying to better myself with, right? Examining that relationship. What is the root cause of it? Because at the end of the day, we don't want to treat the symptoms, we want to treat the root cause. That's medically how you heal, how you cure, by treating the root cause, not the symptoms, right? So journaling helps us put down all of our thoughts so that we can get to the center of it. And just the act of taking thoughts from your mind and writing them onto a page organizes them in its own little way. It does things, it moves things, emotions, thoughts in your head and inside yourself in ways that you can't even perceive. It just works. It just does. Successful people journal, period. That's just how it is. But I'm not going to make you do anything, right? I only harp on it like that because I know how important it is. I know how it served me so well. So if you don't want to journal, no big deal. But you're missing out on a huge, huge asset, especially when we're talking about getting through cravings, long-term recovery, right? Especially when we're talking about, these addictions, I don't know, problems, struggles that aren't quite so defined, right? We don't fully understand this thing that's going on, this addiction, this, whatever. We don't fully understand this life in this world, right? I think that especially in these kinds of cases, use every available asset, right? Especially when I have to say, when my friends started dying, that was a fork in the road. That was a slap in the face. Interesting, Barbara C. How has the surgery and journaling changed your situation? Are you seeing improvement? I bet you, if you are, it's not as quick as I mean, it changes never as quick as I'd like, at least. But yeah, have you been seeing improvement? Because that's what we want to hear. Sweet, Barbara. That's awesome. Sorry about last night. I put it up this morning to make up for lost time. I'm sorry about that. I totally spaced it. I was completely overwhelmed last night and needed to just relax. Completely overwhelmed last night. So the phenomenon of craving is directly linked to the reward system of your brain. All of us are trying to fix a broken reward system. And by reward system, I mean um, your dopamine, right? Your serotonin, your endorphins inside your brain. All of us have broken or malfunctioning reward systems. Um, And I think it's important to note that. I think it's important to note that at the end of the day, the phenomenon of craving is directly related to this thing we talk about all the time. And we're all trying to do this. Goosebump, mayonnaise and entertainment has done the lion's share of the work. Well, that's awesome, Barbara. I tell you what, I'm really happy to hear that. I tell you what. At pottery class, not in chat. Well, still happy to see you. Kelly B69. Hey everyone, done with dental surgery for now. I'm okay with pain pills. I'm okay, no pain pills. Pardon me. Don't listen to the captain. No pain pills. Heck yeah, Kelly, good for you. I'm super happy you're done with surgery for now. Hopefully you don't have to go back too soon, and hopefully everything heals up nice and swiftly and comfortably. I tell you what, Zaphod, I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure we completely skipped tincture time yesterday, so we'll do it. We'll do it tonight. Don't let me forget. I don't think I will, but I've been having quite a bit of dairy in my stomach, so I think that it'll be just fine. Yeah, someone else reading your journal is the biggest violation of trust and privacy. Have you no decency? You know, that's what I think. My card from the mail? Nope, not today. Not today. I went down there again. I even asked the office lady just in case it got delivered weird. Nope, no one's seen it. So my dad said it took him about a week, so maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be tomorrow, or maybe it'll come in Monday. I also did not get on the phone with those people. It's not quite Tink time yet. I do want to get through. We can spend less time on each of these topics, but I totally this next part. Shout out to my book study crew. This next part is, I think, really important. Moral psychology. Have you guys heard of this? I'm just going to jump right into it. Moral psychology. Do you know what this is? It's something that's talked about in the Alcoholics Anonymous book. And I won't harp on it too much. I know that it's a very controversial subject, Alcoholics Anonymous and whatever. But for me, it has helped me a ton. And I totally know the wonderfulness of moral psychology. And I just want to talk about this subject objectively because it's a very intriguing idea. And I think that if you take the time to listen, you might find some common ground with this moral psychology thing. And I just also want to come right out the gate and say that moral psychology refers to a spiritual awakening, which is a complete psychic shift, which is basically like becoming a new person, right? Which is what we talk about all the time. We're in early recovery. We want to build a new life, right? We want to live a new life, right? A better life. So moral psychology, spiritual awakening, whatever you want to call it, it's all about that change, evoking that change in yourself, and specifically in addicts, in the hopeless variety of addicts and alcoholics. And by hopeless, I mean like never going to get sober, like a down bad, which I was that, I'm sure that there's a bunch of people on the boat that can relate. And I would never call them out. But with our scientific and technological advancements, right, we're a pretty advanced society. We got microchips, TV screens, wireless internet, we got Bluetooth. I am making satire, but we do have a quite technologically and scientifically advanced society. And that with that, we may be ill-equipped to understand and handle problems of the spiritual nature. And by spiritual nature, I mean like that part we can't quantify, right? We have our brains, we have our minds, right? We have our bodies, we have our physicalness, but emotions, but like gut feelings, but like a relationship with a higher power, if that's something that you're into. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about that, but these are things that cannot be quantified. These are things of a spiritual nature, right? If you believe in your ancestors, or if you ever visit like a dead loved one's grave and speak to them, um, these kinds of concepts and things are of a spiritual nature, right? And just because we can't quantify them and measure them does not mean that they don't exist. And for me to get sober, this was something that I had to accept. This is something that I had to come to understand, because I needed to have a spiritual awakening. I needed to apply moral psychology on my life, right? I needed to find out how to heal my soul. In my opinion, addiction is a disease of the soul. It is a sickness of the soul. I would say heart because it sounds really good, but your heart's a physical part of your body, right? I'm talking about something we can't quantify. It's a sickness inside you that you can't see, smell, taste, or touch. It's there though, and its effects, its destruction are very visible, right? What it does is obvious, but you can't necessarily see it or measure it, right? It's a very spiritual thing. So under those terms, in that context, it becomes a lot easier to accept this whole spiritual thing, I think. What do you guys think? Did I do a good job? I really got kind of choked up there, dude. It's a lie. It's all lies. It's all a lie. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. It certainly makes a difference for us. I think it's tincture time. Thanks, Tara. I was thinking of you when I was making this show, and I was like, man, I feel like there's something missing here. I started looking through my book and my notes, and I was like, moral psychology. I was like, we got to throw this in there at the end, a little spiritual awakening for that ass. You know, I still don't know, Kristen, and I also did not get on the phone with them today. That's something I failed at, but I kicked butt at the lifeboat. I tell you what, and I kicked butt at self care, and I kicked butt at pretty much everything except calling that company today. So I'll take it. I'll take it. Like 7 wins and 1 L. That's like 6 wins, basically, right? And you know, Tara, I'm telling you, good planning, there's an element of letting it go and just flowing with it, right? Or just like, oh, well, maybe I'm just going to look over here real quick. Oh, well, look at that. That's a great idea. That's kind of stuff happens to me all the time. Um, Sweet surrender is what I like to call it. Devilishly satisfying. Okay. I wish the alcohol solvent, I don't know, I got to educate myself on what to actually say, but the alcoholness of this, it however they make this tincture, they use alcohol in the process and you can like taste the difference. It's very disconcerting to me. I like this tincture a lot. It has a very nice flavor, but it's hard to get past for me that like alcohol part. So I'm not going to do the Grizzly Heat one. Shout out to my guys at Grizzly Heat. Shout out to Rhett. Love you, dude. Uh, we're just going to do some more jacked up, I think. This one really hits. This one hits hard. This one hits lay hard. I'm probably going to go get a hat that will hold my hair properly because I'm out of hair ties. Please hold. This man is mine. Mine. I never see this day. What is that? I feel like I can see a hair that's coming from my eyebrows or something that's like right in front of my eyes. I hate that. Okay. So we've got here Tommy's Tink. It's the jacked up version, of course, as opposed to, where is it? As opposed to the Tommy's Tink that's not jacked up. The one that I did not write on does not have capsaicin crystals in it. It just has capsaicin in it. You know, it's different. I can't believe I forgot to do this. It's okay. I'm learning. Consistency is one of my biggest struggles. Okay, it's jacked up. Yeah, hair ties, I feel like could even be like wrapped around a couple towels or something to like hold all my stuff together. Like really an infinitely useful tool, not unsimilar to the towel, you know? That's a very, very good point, Zaphod. I keep taking it off camera because I'm not a professional tincture doer, but I do really, really enjoy doing it. Let's go, what is that, 50 milliliters? Let's go, or 0.5. Let's do that much. Let's see how much that's going to hurt. RA is sitting in front of his computer right now, just shaking his head like this friggin' guy. All right. That was a lot. Very, very nice flavor, though. Holy crud. Holy crap. Oh. I wonder what's in that one. Wow. It is, can I read? Orange ghost peppers, Moruga scorpion peppers. That's why I like that one. It's not predominantly Reapers like everything else. Oh, it's hard to use my throat properly right now. 100% of the burn is like, wow. Wow. Ear hiccups and ear burn. This ear, especially. Wow. Oh my gosh. Wow. The tonsil burn is pretty intense. All right. Yeah, the tonsils. I don't like that. I don't have anything to say. Just kind of like being one with my tonsils. I don't think it's supposed to hurt like that. I'm gonna be honest. I think that was too much. I wonder how long that's going to burn. Raven in a van I am. Oh, wow. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here. I can totally get some milk, but I don't want to create a reaction. Sometimes I am sensitive. And if I put the opposite in my stomach, it might have like a weird interaction. Probably not. I'd probably be fine. Yo, I am soaked. Brazy girl. Soaked. What is soaked? Is that when I do too much tincture? Yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Hit that like, subscribe, the bell for notifications if you like what we do here. Milk does help. Capsaicin is an oil, so it's spread around by liquids in general. It doesn't necessarily get washed away. It'll just make it worse. It'll make it more places. But milk does help to dampen it a little bit. Milk, something in milk. I don't know what it is, but lactose maybe. Who knows? But it does make it a little milder. Shout out to Lady Hawk. Hope you're doing all right. Good to see you, Mon. Yeah, I'm a big fan of OJ. All right. Enough of these tears. You guys have a great night. We'll see you in the morning, all right? I will be